Welcome to all Caribbean entrepreneurs. If you've been ready and waiting to take your business digital and get paid online while you sip something strong on the beach, this podcast is for you. We'll hear from the Caribbean's finest entrepreneurs on topics like e-commerce, business development, brand building, social media, their wins and failures. This is the only place in the region helping you navigate the digital age from the Caribbean's perspective. This is Digipreneur FM. And now, let's give it up for the Digiboss himself, Mr. Karan Rose.
Thank you to everybody tuning in to another episode of the Digipreneur FM podcast. And as usual, it is your boy, Mr. Rose, back at it again with another episode. DJ, you gotta fade us out. Fade us all the way out because we gotta talk to the people. How is everybody doing on this lovely Tuesday morning? It's Tuesday, October the 3rd. And you know what? We took a 2-month break from the podcast because we were busy doing a whole lot of other things. We were still busy doing Digipreneur work, right? We're still showing up in every space, but I just hadn't had the time to get in on the podcast. And that's why you're getting 2 episodes back to back. You know what? I went to bed. I had an amazing sleep last night. And I woke up and you know those moments where you kind of just wake up and you're just, you wipe your eyes and you're just kind of just laying in bed. Your thoughts are just running wild about a bunch of different things, right? And I woke up, and what was on my mind today was, what do I need to do to elevate the Karan Rose brand? What do I need to do to elevate my personal brand? It's coming down to the end of the year. 2023 was an amazing year. It was by far my best year. I mean, the year's not even done. We have a lot of things happening before this year is done, and it's only going to get better. And I just laid in bed thinking about, what do I need to do to elevate my brand? Where do I want to take my brand in 2024? Right? And a lot of things came to mind. A lot of things came to mind. I would have touched on in the last episode, a lot of hosting opportunities have been coming in, and I realize why I'm getting very specific hosting opportunities within the tech, business, digital space. I realize why I'm getting it. And, again, just thinking about what do I need to do, and I had a lot of thoughts. Now, this episode and what I wanted to kind of talk about is not really about, what I'm trying to do. It got me thinking. I also got to thinking about, there's still a lot of people who don't believe they need a personal brand. There are people who are still thinking to themselves that they want a personal brand, but they don't know where to even begin, right? And I think building a personal brand today, now more than ever, is super, super critical, right? And for so many different reasons. And because, again, I'm just laying in bed having all these thoughts, I'm like, you know what? Why keep these thoughts to myself? Why not jump on the podcast and have a conversation about this, put it out into the world, and just have that conversation publicly, right? So that's really why we're getting episodes back to. Who knows? We might even get 3 episodes this week, depending on how good we're feeling. Again, it feels so good to be back into a space where you are comfortable. When I say I love podcasting, this really has been my favorite way to create content and communicate with the world. All right. So I have a lot of fun doing everything in relation to getting the Digipreneur podcast to, where it has become. So let's dive into today's episode. So we're going to be diving into a topic that's become the cornerstone of success in the digital era, and that is building your personal brand in the digital age. In a world where online presence often speaks louder than words, where a Google search can define first impressions. And I got to say that again, folks. We are in a world where your online presence speaks louder than words, where a Google search can define first impressions. And thought leaders are born from tweets, from blogs. Are we even calling them tweets anymore? Or what do we? I don't even know. I don't even know what we're calling it anymore. I don't know if it's X's, tweets, whatever. Thought leaders are being born from tweets, from blogs, from vlogs. How do you carve out your unique space? Why is it even important to have a personal brand? And if you do decide to embark on this journey, where do you begin? So throughout this entire episode, we're going to be uncovering some really compelling reasons behind the rising importance of personal branding. We're going to dive into the essentials and best practices to position yourself as a thought leader. And not just that, we're also going to equip you with a toolkit, like a list of must-have digital assets that will amplify and support your brand in this digital age. So whether you are just starting out, whether you're looking to pivot or aiming to elevate your existing brand, we're going to be talking about some insights that could be game changers for you. So let's kick this entire thing off. I'll start off by saying one of the debates has really been, whether or not you need a personal brand. Is personal brand just a fancy way of saying reputation? That's been something that I've heard. Personal brand is just something that is a fancy way of saying reputation. But you know what? A personal brand and reputation, these are actually two different things. So I think I'm going to start there. There is a difference between a personal brand and a reputation. So I'll break it down, but how I kind of look at it is your personal brand is the input and your reputation is the output. All right? So let's break that down. Let's start right there. Your personal brand refers to deliberate and a strategic presentation of yourself to the public, especially in this digital space. Think of all of the platforms and ways that you show up, right? That's all intentional. So your personal brand encompasses your values, your strengths, your expertise, and the unique value that you offer the market. It's about how you market yourself and the narrative you create around your professional identity. Some people think, personal brand is very fluffy because people just jump on the internet and say whatever they want. I mean, there are people that are faking it for the win. They're faking it till they make it. But really and truly, your personal brand centers around your expertise, your values, your strengths. Like those are things that you cannot make up, right? But again, it's how you package it and bring it to the market. That is your personal brand. Your reputation, and pay attention. Your reputation, this is the perception others have of you based on their interactions with you, word of mouth and past experiences. It's the result of your actions, your behaviors, and your deliverables over time. So again, that's why I said, to me, how I think about it, personal brand is the input. This is what I'm intentionally doing. My reputation is the output. This is how the market, the people are receiving. That's how they receive and perceive me. All right? Personal brand, you have control. So you have a significant degree of control over your personal brand. It's about how you choose to present yourself, the content you share, and the image that you project. Whilst your reputation, while you can influence your reputation through your actions and decisions, it's ultimately determined by others' perceptions and opinions of you. All right? Let's dive into a bit more. In a broader scope, a personal brand can encompass your professional expertise, your values and passions, your long-term vision, and the story you tell. While reputation is more specific, focusing on particular traits, behaviors, or past actions. For instance, you might have a reputation for being punctual, reliable, or innovative. All right? Your personal brand is an ongoing effort. So as you evolve, so can your personal brand. It's something that you can reshape and redefine throughout your entire career. Whilst your reputation is built over time, it can be harder to change, especially if it's negative. One significant misstep can impact your reputation for years. When it comes to platforms, your personal brand is often associated with your online presence. Your platforms that you choose, especially in the context of the digital age. Think of your LinkedIn profile, your social media handles, your personal websites, and just overall what you're doing online. While your reputation exists both online and offline, it's the word of mouth amongst your colleagues, the feedback from your clients, the reviews on professional platforms. So in essence, while your personal brand is the narrative you create and project to the world, your reputation is how the world perceives and responds to that narrative, as well as your actions. Both are extremely crucial and they influence each other. A strong personal brand can enhance your reputation, but a tarnished reputation can undermine your personal brand. Let me repeat that for you. A personal brand can enhance your reputation, but a tarnished reputation can undermine your personal brand. So because that is a debate that happens a lot that I see online, some people, debate whether you need a personal brand or not, or whether it's just a fancy way of saying reputation. Again, I just broke down why those two things are different, right? And how they both coexist and work with each other. Now, I want to dive into the key reasons why you need a personal brand in the digital age. To me, it's non-negotiable. To me, it's non-negotiable. You got to build your personal brand now. And if you really want to create opportunities for yourself, oh boy. But let's dive into it, right? So some key reasons why you need to have a personal brand and why it's more important than ever before. So for starters, your online presence. The majority of the interactions and transactions, right? The majority of interactions that we are having and transactions that are happening, they happen online. Having a personal brand ensures that you are visible and, most importantly, relevant in the digital space. There are a lot of people that are not building their personal brands, and they're just leaving a lot of things up to chance, and they're getting passed up on opportunities. They could be dope, The person could be amazing, but they are being passed up by people who have understood the assignment, and whilst still having the expertise, the skill sets, the experience, they've understood that they need to build a personal brand to build visibility, and they are attracting more opportunities, right? I know you've heard the saying, closed mouths don't get fed, kind of thinking like that, right? You need to be able to build your personal brand, craft your online presence, and build visibility to stay relevant in this digital world, because the transactions and interactions are all happening online. You also want to build your personal brand because it is going to help with your credibility and trust. A well-established personal brand can position you as the expert in your field, making people more likely to trust and engage with you. It's so easy now, right, to be able to, take your expertise. Again, we're not talking about people who are just fluff and just wake up one day and decide to, claim they are whoever they are. I'm talking about real people who have real experience, real expertise. All right. It's a way better way. It's a great way to build credibility and trust to people who don't know you, when you can take all of your experience, your skills within your niche, create content, put it online. Strategically build your personal brand. That way, when people do learn about you or see a piece of content to hear about you, right? It could be that they heard about you through word of mouth and they jump online to Google you, look who you are, jump on your LinkedIn, go on your website, look at your social media platforms to get a gist as to where your mindset is around the industry that you serve. That goes a long way in building credibility and trust. And think about it think about it like this. Look at your own personal habits. You might have a problem. You might say, hey, maybe, I don't know, maybe your toilet clogged or something and you don't know a plumber. So you ask your friend, hey, do you know any good plumbers? They give you a name for a plumber. Chances are you go online just to check them out. You got the name of the person. You might have the phone number. Chances are you're going to give them a call because they come recommended. But usually people go online and just put a name to the face. They want to see who the business is. They want to see some reviews, some testimonials. Who is this person that's going to be coming into my home? Let me see what these people are all about. All right? And once everything kind of checks out, you get the call. You get the business. Your personal brand also creates career opportunities. So a strong personal brand can open doors to job opportunities, collaborations, speaking engagements, and more. Employers and clients are researching individuals online before they are making decisions. Let me tell you something. Never has it been more important to build your personal brand with respects to opportunities because everybody's researching you. Your clients are researching you. Your employers are researching you. I'm working with some people. I'm working with a couple of companies, and they're looking to hire for a variety of different marketing positions. When we do the interviews, right? When we do the interviews and people say, hey, they do this, that, and the third, the first thing I'm doing, right, is I'm going online, and every single thing that you said that you do, I'm going online to see whether or not you do it and how well you do it. And a lot of the times, like somebody could say, hey, I am a great content marketer. Now, if I go on your platforms and I see that you don't create any content for yourself, whilst you might not create content for yourself, you might create content for other people. That's something I would notice, right? I'm noticing that you don't create content in your own personal capacity. And again, I might not hold it against you, but then when you find a candidate who is creating content on their own platforms, I know the level of work that they are doing. You sometimes have to question, right? Because this happens. If somebody doesn't create content on their own platform, but they do it for a business, I can think. Sorry, I butchered all that, but I might even think that, okay, how much input did you really have in that content for the business, right? You got to show me something. But again, you're not holding these things against you, but I'm just saying that people are researching you, right? And you don't want to leave anything up to chance. You don't want to leave anything up to chance. If you know you're trying to apply for jobs, you want to build your personal brand. That way people have a good understanding as to who you are, what you're about, what you can do. If you're leaving up to chance and there's room for error, there's room for people's thoughts to wander, right? In the case of content creator, I don't see you creating content on your own platform, but you're saying you're creating it for other businesses. I think of the group project. There's a lot of people in the group project where they don't do anything. How do I know how much your input was, right? So again, key reason why you want to build your personal brand. It also helps you with your networking. Oh my God. Let me tell you something. As somebody who is I am an introvert. All right? I know it sounds crazy, but I'm an introvert. And I just have learned how to channel my energy. I know when I can go hard in terms of putting myself out there. And I know when I need to be by myself to recharge. And I do that very well. And I'm not the person that's going to, I don't do well with coming up to people, introducing myself. Like, I really don't, right? However, building your personal brand allows you now to become that magnet to attract other like-minded professionals, potential partners, or people that you want to work with or even connect with. It's so much easier for me when somebody else recognizes me and comes up and says, "Oh, you're so and so." We might get into a 3-hour conversation, but I might not be the one to start it. So, in building my personal brand, it's made it a lot easier for me to attract people and have conversations happen, because usually I'm not the one going out of my way to kind of just go and introduce myself. Like, I typically don't do that. And chances are, like, I would rather be at home chilling rather than going out to networking events. So it's a lot easier for me when I'm, putting out content, building a reputation, and people are coming to me. Then you have things like your personal growth. So you're building your personal brand is always going to require you to self-reflect, understand your strengths, your values, your passions, and it just leads to personal growth and clarity. And again, this is why we're even having a conversation. I'm laying in bed thinking about, what do I need to do to build my brand, which leads to what types of skills do I need to learn, be it soft skills, hard skills, emotional skills. Like, what do I need to learn to get my brand to the next level? So it's always going to require self-reflection when you are building your personal brand. And then lastly, monetization for content creators, influencers, consultants, even employees looking to climb the corporate ladder. A personal brand can lead to monetization opportunities such as sponsorships, affiliate marketing, selling products or services. In the case of employees, monetization could look like better job offers, raise in salary, right? Creating opportunities for you to go and travel and work for companies around the world. You can create employment opportunities by building your personal brand. On the flip side, we have a lot of people who will debate that you don't need a personal brand, right? You don't need a personal brand. But here are some of the disadvantages you have when you're not building a personal brand. For one, the big one is limited visibility. So without a personal brand, you might not easily be discoverable online, making it harder for potential employers, clients, or collaborators to find you and even connect with you. You're also going to have missed opportunities. A strong personal brand simply opens doors to job offers, speaking engagements, partnerships, ways to make money, opportunities for job advancement, right? Without one, you miss out on a lot of these critical opportunities for your career development. I think this is a really big important one, a really big important fact. If you're not building your personal brand, you lack control over your own narrative. If you don't actively shape your online presence, others are going to do it for you. This can lead to a lot of misconceptions or a narrative about you that doesn't truly represent who you are. When you Google yourself, what shows up? Remember, we spoke about how your Google search is really people's first impressions of you now. When people are Googling you, what comes up? Is it negative? Is it nothing? All of that says something. When I'm Googling, listen, nothing paints a more clearer picture to me, like when I see people say they're a marketing specialist or whatever, and I Google you and nothing comes up. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way you're a marketing specialist and I Google you and nothing's coming up. You're not good at marketing. Because if you were, you would know what you need to do to build your own visibility. All right? No personal brand can also reduce your credibility. So a well-established personal brand positions you as an expert in your field. Without one, you might struggle to establish your credibility, even if you have the skills and knowledge. All right. So just like I said, the person in marketing, they very well might have the skills and the knowledge to execute. But how would I know if I'm Googling you and nothing is coming up and you're a marketing specialist, to me, that reduces your credibility as a marketer, even if you have the knowledge and skills. All right. And then lastly, because we have so much more to talk about, you're also going to have it's also going to be difficult to differentiate you amongst the market. We're in a very competitive market. We're in a digital world. The world is a hell of a lot smaller. It's a connected village now, right? You're not just competing with people in your community anymore. You're competing with everybody worldwide because we have people who can work for companies remotely, right? So you're not just competing with people in your community anymore. A personal brand helps you stand out. Without it, you just blend right into the crowd, making it harder to be recognized for your unique strengths and contributions. You don't want to be in that position. Last point I'll make, because it just kind of came up. If you are not building your personal brand, you also lose leverage when negotiating, whether it be for clients, whether it be for salary for a new job. A strong personal brand gives you that leverage in negotiations. So you can negotiate for a higher salary if you are a hot commodity on the market. If you're a big name in the market, you can negotiate for salaries. You can negotiate for your partnerships, your collaborations. You can use your personal brand to get more money in your circumstances. I don't understand why you would want to leave that up to chance. So we touched on the why you need a personal brand, the differences between your personal brand, your reputation, advantages and disadvantages. So now let's talk about the best practices in 2023 to create your personal brand and establish yourself as a shining star in your niche, establish yourself as an industry thought leader. And I mean, it takes work. I'm not going to say, you know what it is? I think the formula to doing it is easy. The actual work you got to put in, I mean, it's work, right? It's consistent work that is going to build your personal brand. But the formula is relatively easy to establish yourself as a personal brand. And to start off, in terms of best practices, I think the key is always self-awareness and authenticity. You need to be able to identify your niche, understand your strengths, your passions, understand your expertise, choose a specific niche within your industry where you can offer your unique insights. You got to be genuine. Authenticity is key. Share real experiences, challenges, your learnings. People will always connect with authenticity. And I think people forget that because a lot of people are trying to make up the personal brand, forgetting that your personal brand should be based on your values, your experience, your expertise. Those are things you cannot make up. And it's easy to tell the people who are making things up. Even when the stuff sounds genuine and it sounds good, or they might, it might be correct in terms of like what they're saying, the information they're being brought out that they're putting out. It's easy to tell when someone's not genuine because they can't go beyond the surface level, and I see that all the time. Like I can tell who actually is an expert in their space, because they can go deep, right? And this is one of the reasons why you don't see many people doing long-form content. There's a lot of people who are so happy that TikTok has blown up because now they could create, 15-second pieces of content. They can just touch on the topic, right? And they might, how they craft their content might look very well. They might be a very appealing or attractive person, so the content looks great coming from them because they're attractive, right? They can touch on a topic and stay very shallow because you're doing short form content, but they can never go deep on whatever the topic is. All right. So again, it all starts with self-awareness and authenticity. Then when we're talking branding, you have to have a consistent branding. So and this is one of those things where I don't want you to harp on it too much, but it is important to have consistent branding, to have a visual identity, have a consistent profile picture. There's a lot of people like you go on LinkedIn and you have people with cartoon images, uh, images that don't look like them. Like you want to have an up to date profile picture on all of your social media platforms. Um, if you This is probably going to be more so for people who are business owners, not necessarily employees. Have a consistent logo. You could have a consistent color scheme across all of your platforms. Now, again, that's not like a consistent color scheme isn't mandatory. I don't want you to think that, okay, I don't have a logo, I don't have a color scheme, so I'm not going to put myself out there. No, still put yourself out there, but these are things that do, when done well, they do enhance your personal brand. Now, one thing that you can do right out the gate is figure out your voice and tone. So maintaining that consistent voice and tone in your content, whether it's formal, casual, humorous, serious, be consistent. It really did take me a while to figure out what my voice was going to be. Like I remember back in 2016 when I started off with Droid Island, I was looking at all of the other tech YouTubers around the world and I was trying to mimic them. And it wasn't until I found this guy named Flossie Carter, who is a black New York tech YouTuber, tatted, muscle man, and because he is so authentically him, because he is so authentically him in any and everything he does, it blew my mind. Like he makes like some crazy lewd jokes about tech, right? And it's crazy, but it's hilarious. And it wasn't until I seen Huawei. Huawei dropped a new phone, and they quoted one of his like more sexy humor, his more sexual humorous jokes about a phone's features. They tweeted that and also use it as a part of their presentation when introducing a new phone. That to me let me know that you could really just be you and be in the tech space and the highest levels when it comes to tech, going to Apple events, going to Samsung events, Huawei events, and again, Huawei events are happening around the world. Going to these events, the CEOs are shaking your hand, they're quoting you, they know you, they're using your stuff. That let me know that you could really be authentic in this space and do some amazing things. All right. And in seeing that, I was able to say, you know what? The work that I was doing, how I presented myself, how I spoke, what I would say, how I would say it before wasn't me, and then just looking at Flossie Carter really gave me the confidence to kind of do you, and ever since then, it's just been me. All right. So we're talking best practices to build your personal brand. Content, and not just creating content, creating value-driven content. You need, if you want to position yourself as a thought leader in your space and build your personal brand as somebody who knows what they are about, you need to create value-driven content that educates your audience. Share insights, talk trends, actionable tips. Consider creating how-to guides. Do case studies and industry analysis. Y'all see me doing the most. I'm always either, like if you follow me on Instagram, I show a lot of the behind the scenes of me doing work. I do case studies. I do reviews of marketing jobs and things like that. I'm always not just teaching, because we do have people who talk, but then we don't know what they do. I will, and again, this is all because digital makes it possible. I'm always showing me doing the work, how to do the work, and then I could teach about it as well, right? But you can showcase all of that through digital means, and it's your creative. It's gonna be. I mean, there's gonna be some people that say, okay, well, I might not be able to show, what I do because of privacy or whatever. Listen, this is where your creativity has to come into play. You got to be able to showcase, your knowledge. You got to be able to showcase how you do things. You got to find creative ways to do that, right? Diversify your content. Figure out how you could use blogs, videos, podcasts, infographics. There's so many different types of content that you can create. And remember, people learn in 3 different ways. They learn through visual content, video. They learn through audio content. They learn through written content. So create content that touches, create content that hits for the people that prefer to consume content via video, through written, and through podcasts. And if you do that, right, you're going to be able to build you're going to be able to build quite a large digital presence, because each of those different types of content touches different platforms and reaches different people, rather than you just creating video content on social media. That's just going to be limiting yourself to a very specific audience. You need to be doing all 3: audio, written, and visual. Jesus, my goodness, I'm tripping over words. Visual content, right? Engage with your audience. I mean, listen, respond to comments. Don't just post and ghost. Engage with your followers. Engage in other discussions with other industry experts in the space. So follow other industry experts online and add to the conversations that they are creating. Create conversations yourself. Engage with your audience, respond to the comments, but don't be afraid to go follow other industry leaders and add your 2 cents on those in those conversations as well. And one of the big ones is continuous learning. If you really want to be a known entity in this space, you need to be ahead of the curve, continuously staying updated, because every single industry evolves, right? Keep your knowledge up to date. Attend workshops, attend conferences. This not only helps building your knowledge, but it also expands your network. And when you're constantly learning and you're constantly experimenting, you're going to get to the point where people are going to be coming to you as the place of education. Like, people will be coming to you for your thoughts on industry trends, news, that type of thing. Or people will be looking to you to kind of make sense of all the madness happening within your space. And that's a very good space to be in, because that's when you know that your personal brand has taken a big step and people are looking at you as the thought leader within your space. When news happens and something comes out and people are coming to you and asking you, what are your thoughts? Should we be worried? Should we be excited? What does this all mean? Make sense of it for us. That's really where we want to be. And one thing I'll add before we move on is, when you're thinking about content to create, long form content is really what separates. It's really what separates everybody. It really separates the people who know their stuff from people who are just trying to build a name and build a buzz. Because long form content requires expertise. You really have to know your stuff to be able to jump in and do an hour-long podcast, to write a 1,000-word article, to create a 10, 15-minute video on YouTube, or to create a course, to write a book on the topic. All of those things, long-form content, requires expertise. And that is what separates the people who really know their stuff. And this is where people get this thing wrong. We have a lot of people that'll be like, oh, long form content. People don't want to consume long form content because people's attention spans. Listen, let me just debunk all that crap right now. There's a reason why TikTok expanded their video offering to 10 minutes. Just a week or two ago, Instagram came out and said the same thing. We've noticed a trend where people are consuming videos longer. We are expanding our video. We are expanding the length of videos that you could upload to 10 minutes. Why do you think these brands are doing that when they have all the data? They're collecting all the data. You don't have the data. They're collecting all the data. So while you guys are running around telling people, 7 seconds or less, that's what gets the best performance. No. Fluff content. Who wants to watch fluff content longer than 7 seconds? God forbid. Ain't nobody trying to watch that for longer than 7 seconds. That's why your 7-second content gets the most reach, because it's usually fluff. It's usually a joke or a quick gimmick. Nobody's trying to watch it for anything longer than that, but people want to consume longer form content because when people actually have a problem and they want information and they want to learn, they want content longer than 7 seconds. Again, there's a reason why TikTok bumped their videos to 10 minutes. There's a reason why Instagram just announced they're going to 10 minutes. All right? YouTube video content is still a huge thing. So what people need to be focused on is you want to have the long form content because that establishes you actually know what you're talking about. It establishes your expertise in the field. And then from the long form content, you want to be able to take bits and pieces of that to then put onto social media as your short form content. Or condense the information you're talking about in your long form content, condense it into a smaller video or a carousel or something smaller, something more bite-sized and digestible, and put that on social media, but always drive traffic back to the long form content. Because trust and believe, you're not going to create change. You're not going to create change or transformation on your 7-second videos. It's just not going to happen. Change happens with a structured course, with your long form content. That is where people are going to experience a change, not in your short form content. And if you really want to showcase your expertise, go write a book, minimum 30,000 words. That is the mark. That's one of the reasons why people want to write books. Writing a book requires you, a real proper book is about 30,000 words. We have a lot of people doing the cop-out. I'm going to create a journal. I'm going to create a planner. That's the cop-out. All right? That doesn't do anything. It doesn't establish you as a thought leader or anything. You just have something to sell. All right? But if you want to if you want to really separate yourself and really show that you're an expert at what you do, go write a 30,000 minimum word book. Put that out there. Even if it's not a friggin' New York Times bestseller, it's still a mark that you know your stuff. Now, as we get closer to the end of the podcast, I want to leave you with what are some of the crucial digital assets that you need to be building and maintaining in order to have a strong personal brand online. So again, think of this as your checklist for the assets that you need to have if you really want to build a strong online presence for your personal brand. So the big one is your website. You want to have your website. You also want to have a blog on that website where you're constantly putting out content on your platform. Your website is your hub. That is your digital home for your brand. It showcases your portfolio, your body of work. Even as an employee, you could have your resume on there. You also want to be able to have your testimonials and other relevant content on your platform. It's a place where you can share your thoughts, your insights, and your expertise through your blog post. That way, when people come to your platform, they learn all about you. They can contact you. They can subscribe to any other thing that you have, and we'll get into that. But it's that place where people can come and just learn from you. And if you have that place, that central hub where people can always come, bookmark your content and learn from you, again, that's the most important digital asset. And there's so many other reasons why you need to have your website. Second thing, have your professional photos. You want to have your high quality, consistent profile pictures that represent you well, and they should be used across all of your digital platforms for consistency. Make sure you have some good profile pics. I have some really good ones, but I think as we get closer to the end of the year, I haven't done a shoot in a little while because I've just been creating video content and written content, all the other things. But I think it's time that even myself, I'm going to be updating my profile pics by the end of the year. You also want to have, in the case of the employees, you want to have your digital resume. So a well-designed, up-to-date resume highlighting your skills, your experiences, and host it on your website, and make sure these things are on your LinkedIn profile. Keep your LinkedIn profile up to date. LinkedIn is the most important platform to get business and also to get jobs. Point blank, period. 99% of almost all the money I have made has come from LinkedIn. And building my personal brand on LinkedIn, it's just generated opportunities for me. Endless opportunities. It's generated employment, it's generated opportunities. Get on LinkedIn. And really, like, if there's a platform you really should be learning how to use, it's LinkedIn. Even if you think that people on LinkedIn are corny because of all the crap they talk about, forget what people are talking about, man, or follow the right people if you really want to engage in good stuff. The most important aspect of LinkedIn, though, is connecting with other industry leaders, connecting with potential clients, connecting with employers. That is really where your focus should be when it comes to LinkedIn. Make sure when it comes to social media, claim your name on all of your profiles that are relevant to your industry. So if you know that everybody in your industries are on LinkedIn, get on LinkedIn, claim your profile, have a consistent bio, consistent name across all of your social media platforms. All right. That's always good. People, when they're Googling you, they are going to go and check out your LinkedIn. They might even go check out your IG or TikTok or things like that. People want to go and see who is this person? What are they about? Are they creating industry level content? Again, your clients, your employees, they want to see what you are talking about and what you are engaging with online. Just creating content around your industry is such a hack because you're going to get clients. And again, if you're an employee, you're going to be able to attract jobs. And you having a good social media platform will already put you ahead of people who are doing the most on social media. Trust and believe. Because again, in HR, they're looking at what type of person we're bringing into the fold. All right. You also want to have a content library. So you want to have a collection of your articles, your videos, your podcasts, infographics, other things that you have created that help showcase your expertise and thought leadership. Make sure you have an email signature. Again, this cannot be understated. So I use something called Wise Stamp, WISCSTAMP, Wise Stamp. And what Wise Stamp does, it gives me a consistent email signature across platforms like Gmail, Outlook, and some other things it integrates with. And then you can connect your social media platforms within YStamp. So again, it all shows up. So have a consistent email signature. Use something like a YStamp where you can put in your information, your contact information, your social media handles. All of that is going to be consistent, and you can connect it to multiple applications or softwares to use, right? And, I would also say, if you can host things like, again, if you're looking to build your personal brand to get business, start thinking about how can you create your own webinars? How can you create your own online courses? If you can host your webinars, your online courses, these things help in sharing your knowledge, engaging your audience, and showcasing your expertise. And last, let me see, what else do I have? I just remembered, your email newsletter, right? So when you have people coming to your platform, coming to your website, what I would definitely recommend is start building your email newsletter, because again, you're going to own the relationship with your audience. You're not relying on platforms that have an algorithm. You're going to be taking that traffic that you're going to be getting from social media, bringing people over to your email list. And yes, if you are creating good, relevant content, people can't get enough of you. there are going to be people who really love what you do and want more content from you. So have yourself an email newsletter. Put content out there exclusively for them. And again, it also helps you with capturing more data and also owning more of the relationships rather than just relying on social media. All right. I would also recommend when you start to really build your digital presence or your personal brand, I should say, you want to start have your media kit. So what I do is I have a Google Drive folder that contains my bio. It contains a few photos that can be used. Any relevant information about your business or your brand, any press releases. This is great for journalists, event organizers, or any potential collaborators. So have yourself a Google Drive folder, right? Google Drive is free for everybody. Have a folder, put your bio in it, put your high resolution photos that people could use. Any other relevant information about you or your business, have it in that folder. That way, whenever somebody reaches out from the press, an event, or anyone wants to collab, you can just send them that link to the folder and they can pull whatever information they need. All right? That really helps to enhance your personal brand as well. I actually got that tip from my girl, Zaylee Barkley. Like, I remember when we were doing a video back in 2020, and she sent me over the Google Drive folder, and she's like, yeah, everything is in here. Pick what you need. I was like, oh, this is ingenious. And I started to do that immediately. So I'm passing that tip on to you. So, folks, I hope I covered a lot of ground today. We spoke about, why you need a personal brand, the difference between personal brand and reputation, advantages, disadvantages, strategies and best practices for building a personal brand, and also some of the key digital assets that you need to have in order to build your personal brand in 2023. So I hope this gives you something to work with, something to aim for as we wind down to the end of the year and you yourself are thinking about, how can I start my personal brand or how can I elevate my personal brand? I hope this episode gave you some things that you could pull from it. Maybe not everything might be relevant for you, but I hope that you're able to take some things from it and put them to use. All right. That was episode number 134. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry, episode number 135. I said it unsure because 134 was yesterday. This is episode number 135. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure if you like the podcast, make sure you jump on any of the podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Please rate the podcast. The ratings help continue to grow the Digipreneur family all over the world. If you really enjoy the podcast, drop the review. I read all the reviews. The reviews help me make sure that I keep everything on. I keep everything on brand. It's your way of giving me some feedback. But again, people who are looking to consume a new podcast, they're going to be looking at the reviews first to see whether or not this is something they even want to consume. So please, if you can, drop the review. The reviews help. Make sure you're following me across any social media platform of your choice at KERONROSE. Follow me on, places like Instagram. I'm very active in Instagram stories. Follow me over on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's one of my, that's a platform I love to use. So you guys can connect with me over there. Again, any platform that you guys choose. Go check out the KaronRose.com website to learn more about building your digital presence and monetizing your platforms. And also check out the Digipreneur.fm website to stay up to date on all things related to the website. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Like I said, who knows? I might feel cute. I might come back in 2-3 days and drop a third episode this week. Who knows? But we have so much to talk about. I just might do it. Happy Tuesday. Enjoy your day and take care.
You've been listening to the Digiboss, Karan Rose. We hope your notepad was filled after this episode. Make sure to like, rate, and review the show. The learning doesn't stop, folks. And to make sure you don't miss any gems from the Digiboss, go over and follow him on all social media platforms at Karan Rose. Folks, don't just sit there with a notepad. We need you to implement at least one thing into your business before the next episode. That's the only way your business levels up. Thanks for listening to Digipreneur FM. Now go be great.